you know, he picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him.
Hey guys, welcome to the think tank. So what is going to happen? It's good to see you, James, Perry, Dandy. So I'm still looking for a functioning link, believe that or not. I've been doing this since about 8 o'clock this morning. So if by chance anybody else sees something, I do have a lot of things up to chit chat about, but that's not what we want to do, is it? You should see all the channels I've got up here that I'm looking. I just messaged Mexi. So how are all you guys doing? We've actually got, I don't know if it's smoke that's covering us or if it is just a cloudy day. Okay, let me see here. So I'm going to see what we've got here while I'm still looking. I've got the links up, I think.
So we have topographical maps, but what about bottomographical maps? I know, right?
For all the California property data there is and ever will be, Parcel Quest.
Parcel
A
Quest.
developing story tonight. An inmate who escaped from a prison in Pennsylvania has been spotted on surveillance video. Authorities believe the man was seen walking through a yard next to the woods, and they believe that man is Danelo Cavalcante. He escaped from prison Thursday after being convicted in August for killing his ex-girlfriend, stabbing her multiple times. The sighting took place 2 miles.
Uh-oh. I have this on Google. What's going on here? I'm going to refresh it, friends. Come on, come on. We're going to catch this guy. Listen to an ad again? I think so.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably would.
I might have too many tabs open looking for this. It's very possible. Let's try this again. Down. Man, we're on day 7, guys. Day 7.
U-Haul. We know every family,
Come on, guys.
moves at their own pace.
Is that heavy?
That's why we have U-Box.
Take that to the kitchen.
We can store it
Excited about the new house?
or ship it,
Who's gonna get the biggest room?
how and when you
I
want it.
bet you are.
Reserve today at uhaul.com.
A developing story tonight. An inmate who escaped from a prison in Pennsylvania has been spotted on surveillance video. Authorities believe the man was seen walking through a yard next to the woods, and they believe that man is Danelo Cavalcante. He escaped from prison Thursday after being convicted in August for killing his ex-girlfriend, stabbing her multiple times. The sighting took place 2 miles from the prison. Police say it's one of 4 confirmed sightings of the man. The most recent was yesterday when a state trooper tried to chase him down, but he got away. And now authorities are increasing their presence in the area. There are more than 100 investigators searching for this guy. They aren't sure if he is being helped by someone.
Wow. So what do you guys think? Could he be getting help from someone? Okay, I'm going to do this. This is very brief. Okay. Let's see here. We'll do this here. Make that a bit bigger. And hopefully this works out better.
Has had neighbors concerned and fear, and has led to several schools and businesses closing. His most recent sighting was late Monday night at Longwood Gardens. And you see these are photos from it.
Yeah, I think there were some footprints found yesterday as well. So there's been more things happening since Monday, this being Wednesday morning. So let's bring in our guest now. Scott Duffy is here. FBI, retired.
Yes.
Good to have you here.
Good morning.
I don't know. People are getting impatient. Why is it taking this long?
Yeah, so imagine the terrain. There's a lot of law enforcement, but imagine how...
That's the thing. Like it's a pretty interesting area. Anytime you've got lots of trees, rocks, any kind of mountainous type area, it's not the easiest, is it?
How big these properties are. It's a pretty rural area. You have trees, you have shacks and sheds and thicket and high grass. And for somebody to lay low, somebody could easily be within a few feet of him if it's not a grid search. And this is not a grid search.
Well, we were thinking too, at night, sometimes they'll put up a helicopter with those, thermal imaging, and you see the body temperature of the person, and in the trees. Why can't they do that?
So technology is great, but we've been in a heat wave the last couple of days. So you have, what are these designed to do? To pick up heat temperatures of whether it be an animal or a human being and send a team. But if you have all this heat coming off the ground, you're high up in the sky, you're looking at red. And so thereby something that might easily be picked out at a 50, 60 degree day, 70 degrees.
Interesting.
With cool ground. Now you have all that heat coming up and it kind of affects.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that is something to think about.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't think about that. The ground giving off heat. I mean, it makes total sense, doesn't it? So let's see here.
This is interesting because in this area, they've had a similar situation happen, but this was back in 1999. So a lot of people are thinking about the manhunt that was going on then.
Oh.
When convicted killer Norman Johnson escaped prison, he was on the run for 19 days.
19 days.
And here's how we covered it back then.
Is there any sound on this? If not, I'll talk. Okay. So you know this one, don't you? Know this case, don't you?
I was there.
You were there in 1999. Oh, there he is, Norman Johnston. He had.
Uh-oh, come on. Don't be doing this. There we are. Come on.
From a Chester County prison nearly a week ago has had neighbors concerned and fear, and has led to several schools and businesses closing. His most recent sighting was late Monday night at Longwood Gardens. And you see these are photos from it.
Yeah, I think there were some footprints found yesterday as well. So there's been more things happening since Monday, this being Wednesday morning. So let's bring in our guest now. Scott Duffy is here. FBI, retired.
Yes.
Good to have you here.
Good morning.
I don't know. People are getting impatient. Why is it taking this long?
Yeah, so imagine the terrain. There's a lot of law enforcement, but imagine how big these properties are. It's a pretty rural area. You have trees, you have shacks and sheds and thicket and high grass. And for somebody to lay low, somebody could easily pass, be within a few feet of him if it's not a grid search. And this is not a grid search.
Well, we were thinking too, at night, sometimes they'll put up a helicopter with those, thermal imaging, and you see the body temperature of the person, and in the trees. Why can't they do that?
So technology is great, but we've been in a heat wave the last couple of days. So you have what are these designed to do? To pick up heat temperatures of whether it be an animal or a human being and send a team. But if you have all this heat coming off the ground, you're high up in the sky, you're looking at red. And so thereby something that might easily be picked out at a 50, 60 degree day, 70 degrees with cool ground. Now you have all that heat coming up and it kind of affects.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that is something to think about. And this is interesting because
absolutely.
Situation happened, but this was back in 1999. So a lot of people are thinking about the manhunt that was going on then.
Oh.
When convicted killer Norman Johnston escaped prison, he was on the run for 19 days.
19 days.
And here's how we covered it back then.
Is there any sound on this? If not, I'll talk. Okay. So you know this one, don't you? Know this case, don't you?
I was there.
You were there in 1999. Oh, there he is, Norman Johnston. He had a whole family of bad people, didn't he?
Yes, Norman Johnston. A movie was made about the family and the killings and just his criminal organization. It was an amazing time to be a part.
Was it the same area we're talking about?
Yeah, same area. So I was at Longwood Gardens. And this was a wider search because Norman had stolen a car, and of course he was locked up back in the 70s. So when he would try to steal a car, a modern day car, he didn't know how to operate it. So he was looking for an 80s or older model car, which he was used to stealing. And so, there's far few of those cars to be able to steal, but he was bouncing between Delaware and Pennsylvania. So the search was a little bit wider.
But kind of the same darn area. So,
and eventually he was found underneath someone's home.
Yeah. So ultimately what it comes down to.
So, yeah, it's funny because this guy decided he was going to take the same route as the last guy who escaped. So I'm not quite sure why, when you've got one guy that's escaping, why you are not why you're not fixing that issue.
Who is a very alert neighbor, resident. Here's some rustling out back. It is late at night. I'm about 3 miles from the location as one of the search teams. And then the call comes out that we got him. And Norm came out after a very tired, very long couple of weeks without any incident.
Oh, really?
No fight.
He goes, I've had it. But again, we're only 6-7 days in on this one. That one went almost 3 weeks.
Correct.
What's going to end up happening here, do you think? Well, how are they going to get him?
Law enforcement is doing exactly what and the same departments, the same agencies are involved, so they know how to come across and try to find. They're narrowing their search, and of course, Danelo is moving, I believe, south, and so the perimeter is tightening. It is also changing as well as it should, but it's going to take an alert.
Well, they're still optimistic because he is being seen.
And that's what you're saying. The alert neighbors looking through your Ring cameras, noticing if you're hearing a rustling.
Definitely very alert, locking doors, making sure that going out during the day to make sure that your sheds are locked. If you were to wake up in the morning and you see the door open, that should be a sign. Do not even go close to it. Call 911. Let law enforcement.
It's just fascinating to go back to all these years to 1999. The same area. We're talking about kind of the same manhunt situation. And so I'm fascinated by the footage from 1999. And we do have a little soundbite. I want to hear this.
In fact, Johnston told police 2 of the older vehicles he stole during his long run from the law broke down. He made it clear he tried repeatedly to leave the Chester County area, but said heavy publicity made it tough for Johnston to travel. Each time he was spotted, he
This guy's super creepy, like super creepy. Oh my God.
said he was forced back into hiding.
Do we see you anywhere in there, Scott?
No, so this would be the following day. I think I was sleeping during this time because he was caught late the night before, and so after many hours, 19 days, it was 24/7 operation, which very much like today.
He's still alive, I think. I think he's still in prison.
I haven't heard anything different.
And you heard Bruce Gordon say that publicity was key because he had to,
Publicity, keeping the media on this so that way people don't become complacent and they're constantly alert, whether coming, going to work, school, or whatever, just in a walk.
Fascinating. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
There's a lot, isn't there, guys? Oh my God, this guy's creepy. So let's see. I am going to look over here for now because I do believe these guys are going to be, when it's time to kick in, they're going to be our best bet. But let's take a look over here. NIKTHEHAT is on Twitter. Now let's check this out.
Let's give it a couple minutes. You guys can hear there's a helicopter, as you can see, and I'll explain where I am in a minute and the relevance to this location. That is I'm not sure if it's a news helicopter or a police helicopter. If anybody has flight radar on, you guys can check. We're on Pocopson and Britton's Bridge. You should see the helicopter any second. There it is, guys. That's ABC. Okay, cool. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to be running to the press conference in a little bit, so I'm just here for about 5 minutes. So here are some updates that I have for you guys from the past 20 minutes. So let me show you guys the helicopter heading this way. So from what I'm hearing, and this is from a law enforcement source, dogs track off of disturbed ground. The problem is there's so many people clearing areas looking for him that the dog can't get a track because all the officers are contaminating the area. Again, so I'm going to read that part again. So it looks like the canines cannot get a track because officers are contaminating the
shite.
The only dogs that can track off of scent are bloodhounds. We put 30 trail cameras in the woods yesterday. That's from, again, I'm just reading from a law enforcement source. So yesterday they put 30 trail cams in the woods, and we are about to place 30 more.
Good
the
job.
Law enforcement source says this guy is not stupid by any means. He lived in the rainforest of Brazil his whole life. He was also a farmer, so he knows how to live off the land. So this specific source has already hit over 70 hours of overtime in the last week, and he's pretty much been living in the woods. So at this point, there's not much word on a fresh track of the guy, but the canines are unable to pick up a scent because of the amount of officers in the area. So as I just said, there were also 30 trail cameras, hunting cameras put in the woods in the last 6 or 7 days. Now today they're putting 30 more just today. So they do believe he is still in the area, the vicinity, somewhat near the perimeter, if not in the perimeter, at least in the immediate outskirts. And you guys can see the news helicopter hovering low, and it could be that they're assisting law enforcement. Like I said before, that does happen from time to time where the news will come and help law enforcement with a search and provide their resources. So I did see earlier that a dispatch came through that the accused murderer might have, or the convicted murderer might have gotten into a dark green car headed toward Delaware. Now I have a lot of residents texting me from Delaware that live near the border. They're on the lookout, and nothing is confirmed as of yet. We're not even sure if that's a confirmed sighting or any of that. But as I said, I'm going to go to the press conference and I'm going to ask the police, state police, about the miscommunication and the lack of communication with all of the agencies. Is there an established line of communication where all officers working this manhunt have access to? That's going to be my first question. And then I'm going to ask about the map, about a map that was found in his cell, a hand-drawn map leading from the prison to the courthouse. So that is a very interesting map, and it adds to the escape plan. Maybe he was avoiding going toward Westchester. And where we are right now, guys, we're on Pocopson and Brenton's Bridge Road. I'll show you the intersection. And on our way here on Pocopson, about a mile behind us, there were 3 unmarked vehicles. I believe it could be federal agents, given the uniform or the vests. It was an unmarked Suburban with 2 pickup trucks, and they pulled off to the side of the road by the woods. And we just kept going to get to here because we have to go to the press conference in a little bit. But that was just a quick update, guys. Other than that, I have nothing else. I read you guys a little text from a law enforcement source about what they're doing and how they are expanding the search and using more cameras.
Nice. So I will be watching for that. Absolutely, 1000%. So let's see. Let's see here. I don't know. Do you think he's seriously planned it out, or did he follow the other guy? Let's check this out.
Absolutely terrifying experience.
Right from this.
Several updates today on the intense manhunt for an escaped prisoner in Chester County. Authorities said there have now been 4 credible sightings of Danelo Cavalcante since he broke out on Thursday, leading them to believe he's still in that area. Residents today being told to stay vigilant. Action News reporter Maggie Kent joining us now live in Pocopson Township once again. Maggie, you spoke with a man today who says he saw Cavalcante on Friday?
Oh, no.
Absolutely terrifying experience, Brian. Ryan Drummond says that he was inside his home on Friday night. Now, Drummond lives here within this 2-mile search radius, close to through traffic. All of the neighbors here in this wooded area, 2-mile search area, have been basically locked down since then as U.S. Marshals and state police continue their search.
My wife, I said, hey, I think there might be somebody down.
Can you imagine? That is just absolutely terrifying, thinking somebody might be in your house, and then you find out that this guy's running around. Oh my God. They're saying that right now there's more than 250 officers that are helping right now. Unreal.
Downstairs, get on the phone.
Ryan Drummond claims he saw Danelo Cavalcante, convicted killer, on the run from Chester County Prison for 5 days now, inside of his home on Friday night around 11:45. After hearing rustling downstairs, Drummond says he rushed to his upstairs landing.
What I decided to do was flip the light switch on and off, 3 or 4 or 5 times, pause, and then he flipped the light switch from downstairs 3 or 4 times, which was the moment of like, oh my God, this guy is down there.
After making sure his children were sleeping in their beds, Drummond said,
oh my God. Now that's scary to me. Oh my God.
Says he watched Cavalcante walk out of his home.
I saw him walk out of the kitchen and through our living room, kind of along the side, opened up that door, walked out. He was wearing a white shirt, had a bag.
Police arrived, but the man escaped back into the thick wood and brush after taking some food.
Peaches, apples, green snap peas had been missing. We have a bunch of little steak knives. It's possible that he could have also taken one of those.
State police leading this manhunt say there have been 4 confirmed sightings of Danelo Cavalcante within this 2-mile search area around Chester County Prison, with 2 break-ins recorded.
We can
Unreal. So he's just breaking in, getting what he needs and carrying on. This guy is very used to this type of thing by the sounds of it. It sounds like actually this might be easy compared to what he's used to.
Firm that we have investigated actually 2 burglaries.
When asked about Drummond's account, state police remained intentionally vague.
That's within the search area, and yes, we have investigated a number of things within that search area. I don't want to get any more specific.
Again, Cavalcante was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison just 2 weeks ago. He's convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend in 2021, and he's also wanted in his home country of Brazil for a 2017 murder. All that to say, investigators say this man is extremely dangerous. You should not approach him, and they say they are here out in force. So if you do give them a call, if you do have a sighting, they'll be there within moments. We're live in Copson Township. Maggie Kent, Channel 6. Action
Just
News. Brian.
terrifying. Oh my God. They need to catch this guy. Oh my word. Ay, ay, ay. Check this out while we're waiting.
Intensifying their search right now for a convicted murderer who escaped from prison last week.
Surveillance images showed Danelo Cavalcante slipping past a police perimeter on Monday. More than 250 officers are now assisting the search for the 34-year-old.
Earlier this week, authorities broadcasted a message from Cavalcante's mother. That was in the hopes that he would hear it and surrender.
Joining us now is Chief Investigative Reporter at CBS News Philadelphia, Joe Holden. Joe, I know you've been on this story from the beginning. Tell us about the search efforts right now, and why is it taking so long to capture this guy?
Yeah, Michael and Errol, good to see both of you. So the search is intensive. In fact, so intensive, people who live in the southern part of Chester County describe it as stressful. They are living stressful lives right now.
I would think so. I mean, look what this man did right in front of her kids.
Because schools are closed, children are home, businesses are suffering because of the heavy police presence. In fact, not just 20 minutes ago, we watched troopers search this train here. They are making sure any vehicles, trains, cars, buses coming out of this perimeter are being checked. That gives you an indication of the level of where they're at with this search. You asked about the difficulty. It is rural. The woods here, the brush, the density of overgrowth in a sort of an explanation. You look into some of these woods, you might see for about 6 feet, and then there is nothing but greenery, really nothing to really determine even a focus. So these movements you've mentioned, the trail camera that picked up Danelo Cavalcante on Monday night, show that his movements happen at night. Other home surveillance systems have also caught him moving at night. Police.
Yeah, I mean, that is the wisest thing, isn't it? Sleep during the day. That makes absolutely more sense than just being a walking target.
Sources tell me they believe he may hunker down during the daytime hours, and some of that has led some of these sightings, either confirmed or believed to be Danelo, have pushed the perimeter even further to the north and east, where to my left is the Brandywine Creek. It just sits over this bank here. Police have their presence along the roadway here. Again, they are checking cars. We've seen them search cars as their efforts strain into a 7th day to find Danelo Cavalcante.
Joe, I like the way that you've explained why it's taking investigators time.
Okay, let's do this here. So, are you kidding me right now?
Details of the escape of Danelo today to provide.
I just want to start from right where the
What they're
over to act.
what? Okay, I think we're there. Jeez Louise. Oh, okay, are we there?
You all and the public have had a number of questions about the actual escape made by Cavalcante. I'm going to turn this over to Acting Warden Holland to talk about that. I'd ask that following his remarks, you hold any questions until the end of our briefing, and we will be happy to take questions at that time.
Thanks, sir. I just want to ensure that we know the gravity of the situation and how it's impacted our community negatively. Moreover, to the victims of this individual, I want to make sure that they know that we are consistently and consciously thinking of what they're going through and give out the fact that they continually are in our thoughts and prayers to make sure we bring Mr. Cavalcante to justice.
Okay, guys, I found.
So good afternoon.
I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just doing this over again. I just prefer to be safe. Okay.
Check, check, check. 1, 2.
Boom.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, Deputy Commissioner of Operations for the Pennsylvania State Police. Joining me today is District Attorney Deb Ryan, Chief County Detective David Sassa, Rob Clark from the U.S. Marshal's Office, Chester County Commissioner and Prison Board President Josh Maxwell, and Acting Chester County Prison Warden Howard Holland. As you know, on the morning of Thursday, August 31st, inmate Danelo Cavalcante escaped from the Chester County Prison. In a few minutes, I'll provide an update on where we stand with the status of the manhunt for Cavalcante. But first, I know you all and the public have had a number of questions about the actual escape made by Cavalcante. I'm going to turn this over to Acting Warden Holland to talk about that. I'd ask that following his remarks, you hold any questions until the end of our briefing, and we will be happy to take questions at that time.
Thanks, sir. I just want to ensure that we know the gravity of the situation and how it's impacted our community negatively. Moreover, to the victims of this individual, I want to make sure that they know that we are consistently and consciously thinking of what they're going through and give out the fact that they continually are in our thoughts and prayers to make sure we bring Mr. Cavalcante to justice. So good afternoon. I am Howard Holland, the Acting Warden of the Chester County Prison. I'm here today to provide preliminary details of the escape of Danelo Cavalcante. Let me begin by addressing the escape of Igor Bolt, which the media has been reporting on. Igor Bolt, which escaped on May 19th of this year. This escape was similar to the methodology of the escape by Cavalcante, and the escape by Igor Bolt allowed the prison to identify a deficiency in the exterior exercise yard where the escape occurred. This is also the same area, the escape yard, where Cavalcante was located prior to his escape. The exercise yard improvements undertaken after Bolt's escape were intended to address the escape route from the yard to the roof area. Security consultants were brought in, and improvements were based on the consultant's findings by a contracted security service. The improvement consisted of additional razor wire being placed in the yard area at the wall where the escape occurred to block access to the roof. The escape of Cavalcante is not just being internally investigated. Because it is in criminal nature, it is also being investigated by the State Attorney General's office. The video of Cavalcante's escape has been turned over to the criminal investigators. I will review the exact timeline and show a video of Cavalcante's escape from the exercise yard at the end of my remarks, but can confirm that it does show that Cavalcante escaped at the same location as Igor Bolt, but for Cavalcante, there was razor wire to contend with before reaching the roof. Secondly, Chester County Prison uses proven countermeasure security that are an industry standard. For example, high fencing, razor or barbed wire, secure doors or gates with salad ports to control movement, video cameras, and most importantly, correctional officers, all of which were in place and remain in place. One of the issues brought to light as we conduct our internal investigations on Cavalcante's escape is that once the additional razor wire had been added to the escape route following Igor Bolt's escape in May, it was determined by our security advisors that this one level of security was sufficient. In fact, what was perhaps overlooked was the fact that addressing the single point of physical countermeasure should have been bolstered by additional means. We are addressing that. On Tuesday afternoon, yesterday, we had engineers from Trans Systems, a company which was selected by Lancaster County to design their new prison, brought on site. They are developing proposals for the prison board to fully enclose all outside exercise yards. While we believe the security measures we had in place were sufficient, they've proven otherwise, and we move quickly to enhance our security measures. Finally, I'd like to cover the human element of the escape. One key difference in the escape by Igor Bolt as compared with the escape of Cavalcante is the role of the tower officer, whose primary responsibility is to oversee the inmates in the exercise yard. In Bolt's escape, the tower officer observed the subject leaving the yard area and contacted control immediately. That is why Bolt was apprehended within 5 minutes. In the escape of Cavalcante, the tower officer did not observe nor report the escape. The escape was discovered as part of the inmate counts that occurs when inmates come in from the exercise yard. As I previously noted, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office will be conducting a thorough criminal investigation into the escape, which includes this element of the incident. This investigation is both necessary and welcome. The action of the tower officer present at the time of Cavalcante's escape are a key part of our internal investigation, and we'll be taking appropriate action against personnel based on the results of that investigation. Here is the timeline of the events. At 8:33 a.m., Cavalcante's block entered the exercise yard. At 8:51 a.m., Cavalcante escapes from the prison, having crab walked up a wall, pushed his way through a razor wire, run across the roof, scale another fence, and push his way through more razor wire. At 9:35 a.m., Cavalcante's block returned to the unit from the yard. At 9:45 a.m., officers on Cavalcante's block notify Central Control of a missing inmate, and they conduct a special count. At 9:48 a.m., officers informed Central Control that Cavalcante was not there. There was a belief that he may have been in a phone visiting room, which was checked with negative results. At 9:50 a.m., the prison was locked down and the special count was conducted. By 10:01 a.m., the public escape siren had sounded and the 911 center had been notified. Just as we do in any security-related incident, we will thoroughly review all of our practices, policies, and procedures and make improvements as appropriate. We are currently formulating plans to enhance security to include, as previously mentioned, fully enclosing all outside exercise yards, installing additional security cameras, adjusting officers' positions when inmates are in exercise yards, and additional security assets which would enhance overall security of the prison. As I close, I would definitely like to thank my local, federal, state, and law enforcement representatives who quickly responded to the scene once the escape was there. I know they have been diligently working to take Mr. Cavalcante back into custody, and we are very appreciative of their efforts. At this time, due to the nature of the investigations that are ongoing, I cannot comment on any individual investigation, including the internal investigations. With that, I'd like to turn it over back to Colonel Bivens. So I'm not sure where.
The video
Whoa. Unreal, Spider-Man.
I'll go on with my update, and again, we'll come back to questions momentarily. Cautions. One of our tactical search dogs suffered heat-related and emergency and remains hospitalized today. We are hopeful that he will eventually make a full recovery. As a result of that reported sighting, residents likely observed a significant increase in police activity. We did have a reverse 911 message sent out during the incident in an effort to inform residents of the issue. Additionally, as a result of that activity, we slightly expanded the eastern edge of our perimeter to include Creek Road. The district attorney and I have continued a regular dialogue with school districts in the area, updating them with changes in our operations that might impact schools. As this operation unfolded late last night, the Unionville, Chadds Ford, and Kennett Consolidated School Districts made a decision to close schools. We continue to use hundreds of state, local, and federal law enforcement officers, canines, aviation assets, and various types of technology in an effort to keep the community safe and to bring this to as swift of a conclusion as possible. Excuse me. We continue to increase the number of personnel assigned as conditions dictate. Residents can expect to continue to see large numbers of law enforcement officers in their communities and traveling to and from assigned locations. We continue to ask for the public's help by familiarizing themselves with the photograph and description of Cavalcante, to check security cameras they have, and to call us immediately if they believe they may have seen Cavalcante. Again, we ask residents to please secure homes, outbuildings, and vehicles. Cavalcante has clearly already obtained some clothing and unknown other supplies, and we want to minimize any opportunity to obtain anything more. It is important that we keep pressure on him as we continue the hunt. I am also announcing that Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers has offered up to a $10,000 reward for information leading to the capture of Cavalcante. This brings the reward total to $20,000. Anyone with information is asked to call our tip line at 717-562-2987, 717-562-2987. Lastly, I want to recognize and thank the community for all of their support through this trying time in their lives. I and all of us working this manhunt understand the tremendous stress this puts on families and even businesses. In spite of that stress and unsolicited, we have had individuals, businesses, scouting, church, and other organizations show up at our command post with cases of water, food, and well wishes for all of our people. They are very kind, and I can't thank them enough for their support. And now we will be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Lieutenant Colonel, do you think he has more ability to hide from you than you thought he did when this thing started, since it's 7 days now?
No, I don't think he has any more ability than we initially gave him credit for. I think that it's a very challenging area. I think we've had a number of these types of searches in the past. Some take hours, some take days, some take weeks, and some take months. We're committed to the search, and we will find him. We will bring him back and into the criminal justice system.
The DA or the acting warden, you guys had access to this video. You saw this. Why did it take so long to alert the public of how he escaped?
You said it's for the warden?
DA or the acting warden?
Well, I can address that. That matter was referred to the Attorney General's office immediately. We are engaged in a thorough investigation. As I've stated before, our main focus is bringing this man to custody. We were putting all of our efforts to try to locate him. There was a simultaneous investigation into the prison escape. And today was the day that we believed we needed to bring in the acting warden to address the public about how he escaped.
But you do ahead of time. You still didn't want to release that information to the public.
Is the Attorney General's investigation supplanting the Chester County District Detective's investigation?
That's correct.
How is it possible that this person was able to take the same escape route as someone just months previous, and really nothing was done to prevent that? Obviously, someone didn't do their job in instituting those measures.
So as I said earlier, according to the document, we did have a consulting firm come out, identify how the individual escaped, and we thought we took appropriate measures to prevent that with the razor wire. Again, the one thing we didn't take into account was a failure on the human element side. We only focused on the physical infrastructure and not necessarily the human element.
So was there nobody in the tower? Was there no one in the tower? Is that why you didn't get the call, or was he asleep?
Someone was in the tower at the time.
Should the person in the tower have seen him leave?
The position of the towers are for observation posts, which overlook the yards.
Just 1 minute.
I'm hearing from state police, local law enforcement, and marshals that you guys have multiple channels. Last night I witnessed this. There was an officer from
Lieutenant Square, there was activity. That officer didn't hear anything. He asked the trooper what's going on. They said, we're on a different channel. He was left in the dark. And I'm hearing now from, it was at least 12 officers in the past 6 days that told me they are not able to communicate in concert with you guys. Are there multiple channels that you guys are operating?
No, I would have to look into that specific concern, and I'd be happy to do that. Maybe we can talk afterward and you can supply me a name that we can look into it. What I would tell you is that we've spent a lot of time and effort making sure that we do have solid communications. We've got a lot of agencies working there. Most have representation in our command post, and we would know immediately if we had a communication issue. So if there is something that's isolated to a certain agency or something, we'd certainly want to take a look at that, but that's not a widespread concern.
Has he obtained a weapon? And if so, what kind of weapon do you think he has?
We have not determined that he has obtained a weapon.
When was the consultant brought in, and what was the name of the consultant again?
So I don't have the exact date nor name of the consulting firm.
Why?
I can get that for you. Because I
Lieutenant Colonel Bibbs, is any infrared or heat-seeking device used to track him at least at night?
There are a number of types of technology. I think it's certainly reasonable to believe something like that would be included in the array of technology that we would bring to bear.
Hold on. In the Igor Bolt case, the inmates were distracting the guards. There was a fight on the basketball court, is what the criminal complaint says. In this case, too, we had heard that there was also some sort of group of inmates or a line of inmates on that yard. Is it obstructing, or is it just that the inmates also figured out how to do this as well? So what is being taken to address that concern that you have an inmate standing there in that video? Is that guy the lookout? Are they all talking about how to do this? What are you doing there on the human side with the inmates to make sure nobody tries this again?
So as I said, for the investigation of how or why this occurred, including the investigation and questioning of the inmates that were there, that's done by the Attorney General's office. So I don't have the exact answer. Moreover, as we develop information into this, we are certainly going to look at what the actions of that tower officer were, why he did observe what was occurring in that yard. I'm not sure as to how or why he didn't address it at this point.
Why not share that video early on if you knew how he escaped? That's the question that everyone had.
Again, as part of the investigation, certainly, I'm sorry. As part of the investigation, that would have been up to the Attorney General's office to release that and when it was to be released. At this point, we thought it was prudent and had permission to release it.
Suspended? Is he still working?
He is on administrative leave.
This is for the district attorney or the warden. Can you confirm or deny that the escapee had a map of the area that was hand-drawn detailing the route from the prison to the Chester County Courthouse? Is that anything or is that anything?
No, I have no evidence to suggest that he had a map of the area.
I did not.
This individual was listed as an escape risk. This was known that he was looking to do something like this prior. Why was he, and also he's here on a murder charge, being held here waiting to be sent to state prison. He knows he's wanted in Brazil. Why is he roaming around the yard like this and not in a more secure location? And is that something you'll do as the administrator of the prison later, is to reevaluate how high-risk offenders have free access around the prison?
So to answer your question, we will certainly reevaluate how we're handling inmates of that level, especially murder suspects. But we also have to understand that these individuals have certain rights. So it's not a question of would we let him out again. It's certainly a question of would I put him back out there with a group of other individuals, or there would be a one-on-one, and it would be a one-on-one from this point out.
Do you believe the Brandywine Creek is a possible escape route? Do you believe the Brandywine Creek is a possible escape route? Officers are monitoring it on Route 1.
I would say that we are open to anything being a possibility as far as an escape route, and we're actively working to keep that area secure. I wouldn't comment on the viability of one versus another escape route.
Do you think he's out of your perimeter?
I do not.
He's flipped your perimeter?
I do not.
What makes you believe that?
Everything that I'm able to see, the various sightings that we've had, other aspects of this investigation lead me to believe that he is still there in that area. Sure. So on the northern end, Route 921, on the east,
921 or 926?
I'm sorry, 926. On the eastern side, 100 or Creek Road. On the southern side, Hillendale. And on the western side, 52.
How big is this compared
And
to what your perimeter was in days past?
offhand, I don't know what the square mileage is. It is slightly larger than the perimeter that we had in the past. Quite frankly, it was enlarged for two reasons. One, because of one of the sightings, and two, because we are also very cognizant of inconveniencing the public. Quite frankly, we probably could have kept that southern perimeter a little further north, but we probably would have interfered with traffic on Route 1 and would have caused even more headaches for local residents and those passing through as well. And so we took the option that we believe is equally secure and yet doesn't inconvenience residents nearly as much.
Cavalcante was in custody since 2021. He would have been in jail at the same time as Igor Bolt. Is there any indication that the two of them had any contact?
We have no information this time connecting that, but again, that is not up for me to determine. It's up for the Attorney General's office in the investigation.
Would you have chosen to share this information today had the similarities between Igor Bolt's release not been made public?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Would you have chosen to share the details of Cavalcante's escape, the similarities to Igor's, had the information not come to light yesterday?
So I don't really think it's a decision of me releasing. I think it was appropriate with the coordination of the Attorney General's office to release it when they deemed appropriate. So that's why we're here.
Lieutenant Colonel, is lethal force authorized only in the perimeter, or is it authorized statewide in the next state if he does not surrender clearly to?
I have no authority in the next state. I have authority in Pennsylvania with the Pennsylvania State Police.
Statewide, lethal force is seen anywhere in the state, or is it around?
No, the directive pertains to this particular search.
And the backpack, or the sighting today that was reported, I believe, by approximately 9, where he might have been getting into a dark green car. Did that come to any fruition, or is that?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question.
There was a dispatch this morning that said that an individual with a backpack matched the description. The escapee got into a dark green car.
No, that was not related to this.
Warden Holland, was the photo of Mr. Cavalcante that we see here, was that taken just before the escape?
I believe it was, yes, sir.
Are you getting a lot of sightings throughout the region outside the perimeter, other parts of Chester County, other counties where people are thinking that they're seeing him? And what kind of stress does that put on your resources?
We are not getting a lot of sightings outside of the perimeter. In fact, very few. They are being fully investigated. Nothing has led me to believe that any of them were actually him. And we have the ability to do this operation and follow up outside of the area as well.
Any idea where he thinks he might be trying to get to?
I do have some ideas of where he thinks he might be trying to get to, but I'm not prepared to discuss that.
Last week that he's trying to head south. You said last week you think he's trying to head south, maybe to Mexico or Brazil. You still believe?
I believe he's trying to head south. In terms of his final destination, again, I'm not prepared to discuss
Are
that.
family members cooperating, or has it been determined that they may have aided?
We're not going to discuss any parts of the investigation involving the family.
I wanted to ask about to get back to the escape. Could you give an approximate width from one wall to the next?
So I would say approximately maybe 5 feet, maybe less.
Acting Warden, you said you're looking to fully enclose the yard.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? That means that there's not a fence around it already?
So the yards are block wall with an exterior fence with an open top. Along that line are razor wires, so someone physically can't climb the fence. Moreover, there's smaller mesh fence on the second half, so the fence is probably 10 to 15 feet high. What the proposal is actually to cap that whole thing in, basically like as a cage, so no one can physically climb out.
All the way from the fence to the building.
All the way, and all 8 yards that we have.
You ever any other video that shows him practicing this? I mean, did he just boldly do this on a whim, figuring out that he could crap go up this wall?
So we have no supportive evidence as far as video that shows him trying to do this, no other inference of him attempting it from any other inmate.
He was like a spider monkey. It was like tick, 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 tick.
So this is C yard.
Yes. I agree.
Is there any corrections officer that is physically present with the inmates when they're in that recreation area? And if not, why not?
So there is physically no correctional officer in with the inmates. For the observation tower, it's to observe the inmates, one, obviously, for any type of injury, any type of fight that's gone away, and any escape attempt. officers.
There be someone just outside there, not inside.
So typically, the other thing we have is a video monitor in that area. So we don't put two staff in there. As part of the upgraded system that we're putting in, we are putting additional personnel, not only in the tower, but on the ground to observe anybody in the yard.
Assistant Warden, was nobody monitoring this camera that you showed us that had the video of him crab walking up?
So we have approximately 160 cameras at any one time that's monitored all over the facility, also inside to control door movements to see who's coming and going. So with the time it took him to go up, and we all saw the video, it wasn't very long. So in that instance, if it wasn't observed and the camera didn't pick it up because either we weren't focused on that or we were focused on other things, it's feasible that, yeah, we didn't see it because we just weren't focused on it.
Maybe the guy was having a snooze.
There were no posts that were vacant that day.
Lieutenant Colonel, you've said that you think he's heading south, Lieutenant Colonel, but you've also said you do have an idea where you think he's heading, but you won't tell us that. But you do believe he's heading south. So you believe that he has more specific goals in mind that are closer to this location that he might be heading
Yes,
to?
my reference to heading south is more so in our area that we're searching. What his final destination and the pathway to get there, I have some ideas, but again, I'm not prepared to share those at this point.
Is he going east? I mean, he went from Longwood Gardens down to Chandler Road. That's east, not south.
Yes.
So why do you think he's going south?
Again, I'm not going to theorize or share theories in here, but yes, there was one sighting east.
Can you tell us more about the sighting? What was he doing? What did it look like?
It was a resident of the area that
Oh.
observed him in a creek bed near the rear of their property.
Follow the water.
Told us he was already traveling into the woods when that individual called us.
Does he have family or friends?
He has some family,
Yeah.
and some associates, and in the general area.
Is there anything to indicate?
Again, I'm not going to.
Is there anything that he's lost?
I guess we'll know that when we find him and interview him for sure. I do suspect he's probably having trouble
Have you
navigating.
discovered any items you may have used?
We have not recovered anything from him out in the field. We have discovered through the photograph that you saw that, you know, he has a backpack, a duffel bag, and a hoodie. But we
Right?
have not
Shish kebab.
Items found yesterday by troopers, any relation to him or anybody else that was out there, wallet, phone, anything like that?
Items that have been recovered are being tested, but I don't have anything to confirm that any item we have discovered.
Can you tell us
is
what
from
the
him.
search actually looks like? Are you literally beating bushes? Is it mostly electronic? Is it driving? Are you putting up cameras? What does this look like?
Well, again, I'm not going to describe every step of it because in the event that he does have access to media, I certainly wouldn't want to disclose all of that. I would tell you it's some of all of the above. It is a very intensive search involving hundreds of law enforcement officers, involving state-of-the-art technology. But we are not
250, I
sitting
think
in a
I
room
heard.
someplace waiting for technology to solve this. In my experience, it'll be solved one of a number of ways. And so you've got to approach it with the physical searches. And so when I mentioned about the dog going down last night, that's because our people are out there, hundreds of them last night, pushing through the woods, holding perimeters, checking on possible sightings. But it's very hot, humid weather, and they're working in that around the clock in order to keep the pressure on. That's part of that side of it. At the same time, there is a strong use of technology of a variety of types to allow us to try and capture him that way, should we not be successful in finding him through the physical search.
The canine officer, what department is the canine officer from?
State Police.
When you played his mother's message, what does it say?
I'm paraphrasing, but it's asking him to surrender. She doesn't want to see any harm come to him, and she wants him to come out peacefully and surrender to the police.
Is it always the same message?
Yes.
Residents
No, we don't have her approval to do that.
Residents are wondering, at any point, will you slow down, or back off of the manhunt, whether it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, when you keep a large presence, an active manhunt with the manpower you have until he's captured?
We are not going anyplace until we have him in custody. We will continue the manhunt. Yes, we are aware of that. We're in contact with emergency management, law enforcement authorities to make sure that we don't have any additional concerns there. And at this point, there's no reason to believe that that festival would be impacted by this search.
Is there any indication that he's had a phone or any communication?
Well said.
I'm not prepared to discuss that aspect at this point.
Question for the board. Did Cavalcante have any sort of disciplinary record, any infractions that you can share with us while inmate at the prison?
To be honest with you, not that I'm aware of. Like as I walked into this thing 18 hours onto the job, I haven't gathered all his back history. I had the deputy warden put that all together and get it ready for the detectives to look at.
Was he living legally here and was he working before he killed his ex-girlfriend?
He was not legally here, and I can't answer the.
Oh.
Lieutenant Colonel, you think you're wearing him down in any way? There's at least a conversation out there that because he sort of emanated from Brazil, that maybe he's comfortable in hot settings, that he's comfortable in this kind of environment. Do you have any sense you're wearing him down? He seems like he's pretty elusive here.
I'm quite confident that we're wearing him down, regardless of the location, the background that a person comes from. These are hot, humid temperatures. He's not living in shelter, has no regular means of.
But he's in the bush,
food
right?
Other than if he's able to break in someplace or find something, scavenge something. So it's a difficult existence out there for somebody that's trying to do this. That will definitely take its toll. I would also add that it's hard enough as one of the law enforcement officers out there. It's hard enough for them navigating in this terrain in this hot, humid weather. But imagine if you're being hunted. It adds a whole different level of stress as opposed to you're out there trying to find somebody. That level of stress has to be wearing on him.
Have you searched local railroad tracks, trains passing through, video notifications?
Yes.
So what does that yield?
It has not, but what we are attempting to do again is keep that secure perimeter and ensure that he does not have an opportunity to escape on a train.
Given the condition of the does he face charges in connection to the?
No, there was no mishandling of the dog. They were monitoring the dog's temperature and they realized it started to elevate. Unfortunately, and they sought medical treatment for the dog immediately. Unfortunately, the dog's condition continued to worsen even with medical treatment until he was eventually stabilized and now I'm told is doing somewhat better. We'll have to wait and see what the final outcome is.
Yeah, great question.
We have had a number.
My
I'm
thoughts
not gonna put a number on it,
exactly.
but a small number of break-ins reported.
Oh my.
I cannot specifically attribute any of those to him.
Does Cavalcante have any history of survivalism? Do you know that he has any specific skills related to his current status?
He's not had any formal training. I am aware that.
Don't
again,
think
coming
he
from
needs
Brazil, that some of his practices, he did go out quite a bit into the woods and things down there. So has some experience navigating and lasting in the woods, but but not any serious formal training or anything.
Of all the hundreds of officers before us now, we've only had 5 one time
I would have to go back and review it. That's probably accurate. I off the top of my head, I'm not. I'd have to look at each one of the sightings, but I believe that's probably accurate.
Apologies that this was asked already, but is there any indication he's receiving help from anyone?
Again, as part of the investigation, we're not going to disclose that, but that is something that we are constantly looking at. Even if he hadn't received it to this point, there's always a concern that he will start to receive it. And so that's something we're constantly looking at.
that all encompassed in that township area, or is it all?
No, it's moved over into, is that Pensbury? Yeah. Yes.
Has a decision been made or advised schools about tomorrow and Friday yet?
We will be having a discussion with the superintendents, I'm sure, at some point yet today. That has not occurred. What I would tell you is that those discussions are intended to give the superintendents as much information as possible so that they can make an informed decision. At some point, that information also changes, as it did last night, and that necessitated another call. So, we'll provide them an update, and then we will give them anything else that may develop.
Question for the warden. When somebody's sentenced for life in prison, are they treated differently than other people in the facility? Once you've taken everything you can from them, are you more on alert for that person? So I can tell you that they have the same rights as everybody else, but giving this complication what happened, we are certainly going to revisit how we're handling that in the future, as far as one-on-one in the yard versus going out with a bunch of different individuals.
So just so we're clear, Acting Warden, you're going to be adding an extra officer in the tower to join the one that's already in the observation tower?
No, for a point of clarification, we will have one person in the tower and physically somebody on the ground walking the yard.
Any additional people for to monitor those video feeds?
So we haven't at this time established who is going to monitor inside specifically video feeds from the yard, but I can tell you we are certainly taking that and revisiting and completely how we're handling all that video visualization to make sure that we're not missing things.
As Danny mentioned, there was a little bit of commotion that you could see in that video with one of the gentlemen who's shirtless running.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, friend.
So I can't comment as to what people were doing or why. I can tell you at that time for recreational activity, there was a basketball net in that area and there was an active basketball game going on. So I'm going to assume at this point that he was involved in that game.
At the time of the escape,
Hmm.
how many people were watching the monitors? And how many monitors are there?
For security reasons, I'm not going to develop how many monitors we have and how many people we have viewing it.
Does Cavalcante speak both English and Spanish? Or Portuguese?
Portuguese and some Spanish, very little English.
Very little English. The next follow-up question is, what percentage of inmates at Chester County Prison speak only Portuguese or Spanish?
I don't have the breakdown of demographics as far as who speaks what language, and because we don't sector them off based on their language or what languages they speak.
Is there a policy on cell phone use when guards are on duty? Are they allowed to have them out?
There are no cell phones allowed inside the prison area at all.
And as far as you're talking about that dome structure that you guys are planning on, when can we see that actually?
So yesterday, we actually met with the contractors. It has been going to be forwarded to the commissioners for their review for possible acquisition and installation.
Was it not obvious that that should have been something in place before?
So I really don't want to get into what should have happened prior to without me actually being in charge of that facility. So I can't really question as to why it was or wasn't there.
Had it come up as security assessments previously?
I'm not sure if that's true or not.
All right, I want to thank you all, and again, we appreciate your help in getting this message out, keeping this front and center with the public. We need their support, and we appreciate your role in bringing that support. Thank you.
Oh, all done. Wow. So what, are they kind of owning some of their stuff? I'm not sure. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. What am I doing here? No. What have I got going? I had something in the background that I thought we were going to watch, but we didn't. So I don't know, guys. Like, where the hell is this guy? He's good. Like, he's really good. I don't care what they are saying. As long as he's got water, he's good. And it does sound like he's following waterways. So I don't think he's going to be that easy to catch. 7th day. Robert Buffham's quiet neighborhood has been swarming with law enforcement over the last few days. 48-year-old father of 5 hears the constant hum of circling helicopters above his home. He passes multiple police checkpoints on short drives around Mendenhall, a small town. I want to check out Mendenhall. So a small town that is in southeast Pennsylvania, where he's lived for over 2 decades. Buffham is one of thousands of residents whose daily lives have been disturbed by, Danelo Cavalcante. I hear them say it, but I knew my tongue would trip over it. So he's a convicted deleter. He's escaped on August 31st. I think they almost had him, what was that, 2 nights ago? I think they almost had him, but he's gone. This guy has been in the real hard stuff in Brazil. Oh, state of Tocantins. Let me check this out. Let's see what I got here. Okay. Okay, thank you, friend. That's awesome. So let's finish this up and then we'll check that out. So he's a convicted deleter. He also has charges in Brazil for deleting somebody as well. So that's something a person's going to have to look into, because all I know is that it's there. Hundreds of law enforcement officers from local, state, and federal agencies using helicopters, drones, dogs, focused their efforts on a perimeter a few miles south of the prison in hopes to force the fugitive into a mistake as he gets more tired. But, I really wonder, how much sleep is this guy going to need? He's going to be so full of adrenaline. Cavalcante made his way out of Chester County Prison about 25 miles west of Philadelphia last Thursday morning, just days after he was sentenced to life in prison without parole for brutally attacking his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brando, in front of her 2 kids. Oh my God, this guy. So Cavalcante made his escape, waiting to be moved to a state prison. Officials have been tight-lipped about how he managed to flee. Well, we just seen him. He turns into frickin' Spider-Man just out of nowhere. Multiple news outlets reported the method used was similar to that of another inmate that escaped the same prison this year. So Chester County's Unionville, Chadds Ford School District, and the Kennett Consolidated School District extended school closures from Tuesday into today. So they're saying this is a difficult scenario to navigate, and we appreciate your patience. $10,000 reward now. Let's see if we got a number here. This is the thing, can you imagine this guy getting into your house? Like, really? Bakery owner says his business is slowed. I bet. So we just watched him scale that wall. Like, unreal. I mean, can you imagine if he really wanted to, the things he could do? So did you guys understand it the same way I did? Is that this is exactly the same as how the other guy got out? Like, oh yeah, yeah. Hey, Chooch. So it's just unreal. It's unreal. Right. They had some good questions. Why did nobody see this guy until they did count? I mean, what? How did you not notice? I'm going to take a pic. So Mexi sent this, and we're going to check it out. This is the area that he comes from, right in here. So there is no way I am going to say that. State of oh my word. Tocantins? Quick facts. It's is a municipality in the state of Tocantins in the northern region of Brazil. So let's do this. Like, there are jungles there. They are jungles. What have I got going there? I'm just going to see if I can grab the dude. Just drop him in the zone somewhere. Does that work? No. Whoa, hey. Unreal. Oh. So it seems like a fair sized place. And I do believe this is just mountainous rainforest. Let's see if there's anything, quick facts. Total population 5,243. There's no way I could say that name. Northern regions of Brazil. Unreal. So it is. It's huge. It's an absolutely huge spot. Wow. So let's see here if I can bring this up. So I played with the maps a little bit. And let's see here. 2, 2, 2. So this is the area that he's escaped from. So these are the schools that have been closed up. Those ones in there, like the whole area. There's pictures of him in Longwood Gardens. And they said he's heading south. So, guys. I wonder where he's headed. Let's see here. Where does this... Longwood Gardens. So it is like right in the very, very corner. So I want to take a look at this. Let's go check out the prison for a minute. Like, I want to know. I got questions. Okay, I'm just going to go up for a second so I can kind of figure out where the heck I am. Okay, there it is. Ipes. Doesn't let you get overly close, does it? So now we go down like this. So they said that they've got 8 yards for these guys. So I imagine it's all going to be kind of like within this compound. I would think that's still part of the, is it? Like I know in a lot of the places that I've lived where they've had penitentiaries, a lot of houses just aren't too far. A lot of times the guy that's running it, he'll take the house. So where is Rec? In here or? No. Staff parking. I see a fence here. And then there's the walled part. What do you guys think? Well, what the heck is going on here? Most bizarre. It froze up. But I'm glad you're all still here. Let's take a look at what I was trying to look at. Maybe that's what the problem was. Do you know what? I'm going to do a little work on the computer before I do that. But we'll take a look. I'd love to know. I just would love to know a little bit more. I think that's just going to be too small. Come on, come on. What? Let's jump over. All these things you end up, oh, you've run out of views, you've run out of this, you've run out of that. It's news. Okay, let's take a look here, friends. so hard to get through these areas. Whoa. Yes. Pretty much. Yeah, he does do it with a little bit of class. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Always someone ready to step up. Unreal. Oh, I had something picked, but I didn't realize it was by them. So I said, no. I say no. Well, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, of course, to see if there's any more activity because it seems like he's moving at night. Now, if they're getting their poop together, then, you know, maybe. This has got some interesting. See, I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood. It just sounded to me like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. 7th day. Chester County residents who live near the area. Look at him. He's just like, oh, a freak. Yeah. So they're saying that he escaped from Chester County Prison August 31st and has been spotted multiple times in the area east of the facility in the intervening days, according to investigators. What I am going to do is when I'm all finished here, I will keep my eyes peeled to see if there is any movement. So he was convicted of first degree on August 16th for fatally attacking his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brandeo. In 2021, he is also wanted for, look what we got there. 2017 unaliving of Walter Jr. Oh, the last names. Sorry, guys. I am going to take this down. So, okay. Owed him money in the cafeteria. Oh, what? Oh, my word. This guy's not right. He escaped through one of the exercise yards. Someone at the facility had said, yeah, we just learned that, right? Glaunter 77 said he stepped outside of his house on Tuesday to find state police parked practically every 50 yards down Parkersville Road. I bet. Like, who expects to see something like this? Lock up the vehicles. During the last stop on Creek Road, Delhanty said he was asked by a state trooper to open his trunk as they checked passing cars for Cavalcante. This is the first time in 9 years that I felt the need to lock my house and doors. Oh, right. I'm not interested right now. I would like the elephant. He expresses frustration that Cavalcante has not been caught, despite the sizable search force that includes FBI, U.S. Border Control. Let today be the day. Caroline Sarkis, 53, who lives not far from Longwood Gardens in Kennett Square, said the constant barrage of reported sightings of Cavalcante has left her feeling unnerved and unable to sleep. Oh my God, no doubt. I've definitely become more vigilant. I check my back seat and trunk. I still do. Yeah. For a few days, I really considered leaving and staying with a friend, but I thought I'd be better off hunkering down here. So yeah, basically the entire neighborhood is stressed out. Can't say as I blame them. Oh yeah, El Chapo. Absolutely. He definitely they come up with unique ways. He got out of like almost impossible places to get out, that guy. But this guy here, I just think it seems to be that he found a flaw and he used it. He knew the other guy had done it, so he's just done it a little bit better. So guys, I am going to say thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys. You know I do. So guys, much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.